Welcome to This Side of 50 with your host, me, Milton K. Smith. Well, hello, podcast family. This is Milton Smith, Pastor Milton, here with season 2, episode 2 of This Side of 50. Thank you so much for joining and being part of this family. Hopefully, you had an opportunity to download episode 1, our mental health edition. Hopefully, you were able to spread that information, distribute those numbers out to your family and friends, those who may be in need of those services. So I want to thank you all once again. This side of 50, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can keep updated on every episode as it's uploaded. And that's a good thing, right? So I'm glad you're here. So today, I want to talk with you about COVID-19. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about COVID-19 again. Looks like things were going to level off and it was on its way to being just a part of history, but here we are. And they have now this Delta variant, and seems like numbers are starting to increase again. So it's been on the radar, on my radar. I've been watching it. So I thought we would spend a few moments on today just talking about it. All right. So seeing some interesting things on Facebook, Instagram, comments from pastors and leaders, people in general, Americans in general, with their different opinions. So once again, as I always say, this is my opinion. No need to be upset. We all are entitled to our opinion, but you're always welcome to send your comments in, your thoughts. I will try to air them as I come across them in my emails, mks@miltonksmith.org, and let me know your views about the topics, the things that we discuss. So let's get into this for a few moments here. COVID-19 vaccinations, we'll start there. I'm fully vaccinated. I chose to be vaccinated, and I will say I believe that everyone has a right to make their own choice, and you should make that choice, however, based on scientific data, factual information, and not be influenced by a political party or be influenced by a particular leader, be they a religious leader or whatever the case may be, that you should be able to make what I like to call an adult decision about your life. And that decision should be respected by those around you. Whether we like that decision or don't like that decision is irrelevant, because you have the right, you have the freedom in this country to make decisions that you feel are applicable towards you. Now, having said that, once again, I'll say that I'm fully vaccinated. My household is fully vaccinated. I felt that was the best decision to make with my scientific background, and just for the simple fact that I found no issues with being vaccinated. Now, people will say a lot of things. There's not enough data. We don't know what's in the vaccine. Some folks have that this is some sort of plot, some sort of conspiracy theory. I don't subscribe or ascribe to any of those thought processes. I got the vaccination, having been a successful recovery, after having a successful recovery, I should say. A little tongue tied. Then let me get my Crystal Light. You know, I always say when my lips start sticking together, I gotta get this Crystal Light. There we go. After recovering successfully from COVID, I felt it in my best interest to get the vaccine. Didn't want to go through that episode, go through that season ever again, if at all possible. Having said that, though, there's been some discussion as should you or should you not. Get some data, as I said, get some good data. Make a good informed decision. I grew up, when I was growing up in the 70s, in order to go to school, you must be fully vaccinated. We had a little vaccination thing on our arm here, little marks where they vaccinate you for all the diseases that were prevalent at that time. And you would go there. In order to go to school, you just had to be vaccinated, right? When I got into the military, they gave us shots, vaccinations against different types of diseases and illnesses we may encounter as we deploy and things like that. So I grew up in an era where it was common to get vaccinated. I know things have changed now. People have a little more choice, a little more freedom, um, and a little more, I guess, leeway in what they want to do. However, I do not think that being asked to get vaccinated is an impingement upon someone's freedom. I also wear my mask from time to time. Depends on how I feel, my comfortability level when I walk into a place. Or some days I just want to wear my mask, and I think um, that's an okay thing. Once again, a decision that you have to make. If I'm going into a facility that requires mask, I'll put it on. If I'm in there with my mask and I notice that's not the culture of this particular place, I often take my mask off. However, I do not feel that being asked to wear a mask is an impingement from freedom. Um, we're asked to wear seatbelts. Matter of fact, we're fined if we don't wear seatbelts. And no one complains about their freedom in wearing a seatbelt. We're asked to do a lot of things that we do with no question, no debate, and there's no thought of, well, this goes against my liberties and my freedoms. So why do you think people are so agitated by wearing a mask or being asked to wear a mask? Understanding that some folks may have medical conditions which prevent you, or that definitely can be impaired, or can say exasperated or exaggerated by wearing a mask. I understand that. But the majority of people that don't want to wear a mask are just those who feel like it's an impingement upon their freedoms. I just don't see it that way, and I'm trying to understand that point of view, but I just can't seem to grasp it. And maybe some of you all that are listening, you may have a point of view, which is fine. I'm saying for myself, in trying to understand it, being asked to wear a mask doesn't seem like a big task. Definitely not a hard task if it's going to help prevent sickness in others or myself or my household. Then I think it's an easy thing to do. Now, do we like wearing a mask? No, of course, most of us do not. Is it different? Yes, it is. Is it a little more challenging talking and doing some other activities? Of course. So it's not the ideal situation, but I don't think it's worth some of the arguments and some of the um, bravado we hear from certain people. I was watching a clip just the other day, a pastor, matter of fact, yesterday, and his stance on wearing a mask, that he felt like that either you're going to walk in faith or walk in fear. Once again, um, I fail to see how wearing a mask is a lack of faith. It's once again comparing it to wearing a seatbelt. If I wear my seatbelt, is that a lack of faith? If I choose to not eat food that has expired or spoiled, is that a lack of faith? No, that's just, as I would call, good wisdom, good common sense, um, good health practices, right? I don't think it says that you don't have faith. I don't think it's a, strike against you that you're in fear. You're just taking some precautions that could possibly be life saving to you or someone that you love. So I see these different views, these different point of views out there, and I'm always challenged by that. In the religious world, of course, we talk about once again that faith. There's a scripture in the Bible that says when Jesus is being tempted by Satan, and he says to Satan says to Jesus, "If you be the Son of God, jump off this mountain, for it is written that He shall give His angels charge over you if you dash your foot against a stone." And Jesus responds, "It is written, you should not tempt the Lord thy God." And I feel sometimes as leaders, especially in this Christian arena, we forget that scripture that um, about tempting God or testing God unnecessarily. And to me, to not wear a mask and say that it's faith is really borderline. You're testing God, and you're putting yourself and your congregation in a bad way. And perhaps we should think about that. We should think about that. I have some numbers here. Take a little break, read some numbers I'm looking at. And you can pull this up if you Google it. Percent in the United States of people that have been vaccinated with that Delta variant now. And I'll say this too, why it popped into my mind. No vaccination is 100% protection, whether it's the flu, pneumonia, whatever it may be. But it gives you another layer, another degree of defense that can help you in the event that you do contract uh, the disease or whatever the case may be. You can fight it off better. Your body can respond better than those who may not be vaccinated, whether it's with the flu, with pneumonia, COVID, or any other vaccination that you may take. So I'm looking here at the national progress in the United States for the vaccine, those that have been vaccinated. And I see here that 57% of the population of the United States has received their first dose. And second dose, we have 46%. So not quite half are fully vaccinated. That's interesting because I'm looking now as I compare this to the world in general. We see that in the world, and the United States, of course, is doing a lot better than the average in this world that we live in. What is it, 6 billion people or so? We have 27.9%, 28% of the people around the world, including the United States, have had their first dose, and only 14% have had the second dose. And that's around the world. Population of 7 billion, really close to 8 billion people, 7.8 billion people, right? Looking down the line here, I decided to drill down and look at countries that were above 50% and even at 100%. Bahrain, I see here, is at 100% for both first and second doses in their country. I'm scrolling through just to see where we are, where the United States is compared to other countries. Um, yeah, let's see. I thought I saw another 100% here. Trying to scroll through real quick. Yeah, we have Qatar, 100% for both first and second vaccinations in that country. That's interesting, right? Interesting. We talk about third world countries or nations are not that are not quite as developed as the United States. United Arab Emirates at 100% vaccination for the country. I thought I saw another one. I'm trying to see here. I'm scrolling through. You know, I wear these glasses. Those who are 50 and over, you know how that goes, right? These trifocals, that your mind, your eyes be playing tricks on you. You see it, then you don't see it. Let me see. Oh yeah, Gibraltar, 100% for both second and first doses of the vaccine, right? So that's just a few. You can always drill down yourself. The Cayman Islands are at 100%. Yeah, 100% for the Cayman Islands there. United States, once again, roughly at 57, 58% of people have been vaccinated. Now, if you look within the United States itself at the states that are here, um, and that's something that's interesting too, especially as you travel. Um, the hot spots as we call them, but also the states that are pretty much have things under somewhat control. If you look at it, we have. I'm just trying to get my numbers here as I'm doing it. You know, Connecticut, that's at 58% for the second dose, 70% for the first dose. Great numbers right there, if you ask me. Um, Scrolling through a little bit more here, trying to see. This gives some background. We have Vermont, 61.2% for the second dose, fully vaccinated, 75.5 with first dose. Um, See what other great numbers or big numbers we have here. I'm in the state of Texas. Let's see what Texas is. Texas has 51, 52% for first dose and at 40% for second dose. And then my home, my birthplace, Virginia, Petersburg, Virginia. Yeah, but Virginia total 62% have had the first dose and 50% have had the second dose. So, people are taking the vaccine slowly but surely. And I think those who have taken the vaccine, um, I think it's a good choice that you made. I also feel like if you didn't take it, as long as you have a, you know, scientific back data as to why you don't think it's necessary, I think it's a good choice as well. But you cannot be influenced by other people and by political platforms and by political agendas. Whether you're on the left or on the right, though this is not the time for you to stand fast in a political ideology. You have to think about what's happening. There is no evidence of anyone, any conspiracy. There is no evidence of a plot to take your freedoms away. There is no evidence that this is some kind of experiment and the government is behind it, trying to spread fear. All those things, once again, your thoughts, your own thoughts are troubling you. And you have to ask yourself, many of the people who have not taken the vaccine that are now hospitalized are asking, can they get it? And it's too late. Um, that's interesting because in just a matter of moments, your thought process can change. So I don't think it's infringement upon your freedoms to wear a mask. I don't think it's a sign of fear to get vaccinated or to wear a mask. I think it's wisdom. I think it's good judgment. I think it shows that you not only care about yourself, but you care about your fellow man. We as Americans, that's what we say. We care about our fellow man. Um, those are the small things. Even if you don't fully agree with the reasoning, those small acts of kindness, those small acts of caring, make a difference in the world in which we live. And in your neighborhood, in your community, they make a difference. So, what are your thoughts about COVID 19, the Delta variant? Being a scientist, I'm a microbiologist by trade. I know that viruses mutate as they adapt and overcome, and that's something that we deal with in the science field. So to hear about a variant or a mutation of that virus is not uncommon. Is not something that's wild, far-fetched, or wild and crazy. It's just a living organism, although at a very basic level, a living organism that's learning to adapt to its environment. And what we don't realize, most people don't realize, is that every time that virus finds a new host, and that host survives that virus, and that virus spreads to someone else, that virus learns how to adapt. It learns how to live a little bit longer, how to fight a little bit harder. And the more it survives, the more it mutates, the more challenging it becomes to control that. That's why the vaccinations are so important. That's why wearing the mask is so important, because you're not fighting some I don't know what you'll call it, some unintelligent organism. It has instinctual abilities. It knows how to survive. At some level, it can think. And I know you're saying, oh, he's really out there now. But when I say think, to the essence of it can make changes to itself, right? Whether you want to call it by accident or whatever, it makes changes to itself. So I'm encouraging you to think about it. I'm encouraging you to research it for yourself. Find good data. Um, CDC, government, whatever the case may be, find good, reputable data that's not being controlled by a political party, that's not being influenced by a political party. Talk to someone that's had the disease and that was in the hospital. Get their opinion about it. I'm one you can talk to, and I can tell you, for all the folks that said it was just like the flu, well, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Now I will admit it was the flu on steroids, but it was way more than the basic flu, if you ask me. And then there's a mental aspect that goes with it, that you really don't know if you're going to be better tomorrow or worse tomorrow. Um, when I was going through my episode, the VA, which I'm a veteran, the VA would call me daily or twice a day. We had to do what they call the walk for life, and they would check my oxygen levels and all those things. And you really have to keep your mind in a good place, because with all that you're seeing, all that's going on, it's easy to become depressed. It's easy to feel like, oh, I don't, down in the dumps, and this could be my last time I'm on my way out. So I had to keep my mind occupied, had to keep my spirits lifted. So there's a mental aspect that goes with this. That when you're diagnosed, you have to decide that you're going to fight through it and not succumb to it to the best of your abilities. Now, the other thing you can do is that I've made it my practice to eat healthier. to hydrate myself, to take my vitamins, all those things that are going to help my immune system fight better, become healthier, right? Because at the end of the day, you get one body and you have to take care of it, right? So, is it a matter of faith? No, I disagree. Just because you get a vaccine, just because you wear a mask, just because you social distance, that has nothing to do with your faith level. I can find no scripture to support that. I find no logical reasoning to support that. If that's the case, then everybody that's wearing a seatbelt has a lack of faith. Everybody that um, takes medicine for a cold has lack of faith. Indigestion. When you have indigestion the next time you take some heartburn medicine for that, that's a lack of faith. Uh, so going to the doctor now becomes a lack of faith. If you're taking your high blood pressure medicine, is that a lack of faith? Or your metformin, is that a lack of faith? No, no, that's you doing what's necessary to keep your body healthy. So I think you have to be very leery of people who would be so adamant about something as small as wearing a mask. Is it an infringement upon your freedoms? No, no, I don't see that. Um, they're asking, government has asked at times that you wear those masks to protect others, and each state has its ability, its own right to set forth its own guidelines. But is it really against your freedoms when there's so many other things? Matter of fact, against your freedom, they take your taxes. They don't ask, can they have your taxes? They're going to take them. So is that an infringement upon your freedoms? I don't know. But if we're going to use that same train of thought that we use for wearing a mask, then yes, it is. It's an impingement upon your freedoms. The speed limit, that if you don't obey, you get a ticket. The officer will pull you over. Is that an impingement on your freedoms? Infringement on your freedoms? Well, it would have to be, because you're being told to do something that you don't want to do, and you're being fined if you go against that guideline. So when we start saying those type of things, and it sounds really well, it gets good support. People rally around us because everybody wants to hear what they want to hear, and they want to hear something that supports their viewpoint, something that supports their understanding of how they want to um, carry forward with their life. Um, it sounds good, but that doesn't mean that it is good. You have to ask yourself, what freedom is being impinged? What freedom is being threatened? What freedom is being trampled upon if I put this mask on? Or am I just helping my neighbor? Or, as a matter of fact, helping my loved ones? Am I being of service to them by wearing this mask? If I get this vaccination, what freedoms, what element of faith is being violated at this point in time if I do this? I would say none. I would say none. Um, it is better to wear a mask than to see your loved one in a casket. Not trying to give you fear. That's not what I'm doing. We're talking about the reality of the situation. It's better to wear a mask than take the chance of exposing your loved ones to this sickness, this disease. Um, that's my opinion. Well, we've had two episodes this season. Um, we talked about mental health. We talked about COVID-19, two things that I think are really prevalent over the last few months. We heard a lot about those two things, mental health and COVID-19. So I'm encouraging everyone that this is the time that you're going to have to really make some definitive decisions in your life, as far as your mental health is concerned, as far as your physical health. When we talk about vaccinations and going forward, um, not something you can play with. You got to take care of your body. You got to take care of your mind. You got to do those things, right? So hopefully, just some thought-provoking things, thought-provoking conversation about COVID-19. We thought it was going away. It's still here. How much longer is it going to last? Will it ever be a thing of the past? Will it ever be just another virus that we've learned to manage? Or will we be dealing with this at this level for years to come? That's interesting. So you have my viewpoint. You're welcome to share yours. You can email me at mks@miltonksmith.org, and I will do my best to answer your questions, respond to your email, perhaps even during this podcast. I may, call your name out, give you a shout out. Well, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed this few minutes that we had together. I'm back. I told you I'm back. This is season 2, episode 2. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the podcast. And if you have not subscribed yet, hey, what are you waiting on? Subscribe right now so you can be updated. Get those little notifications when an episode pops up. I don't know what day they're going to pop up. Maybe on Fridays, maybe on Tuesdays, maybe on Thursdays. I don't know. But I guarantee you they will pop up. And listen, we got some exciting things happening too. That just popped into my mind. I got a couple of books that we got out there on the burner that in the process of being published. Got some music that we're going to publish. I'm not quite certain how we're going to distribute. I'm thinking about doing it through Patreon. Small nominal fee, nothing extravagant, but just to cover the cost of producing and distributing the materials. So something nominal. If you become a member of Patreon, maybe I can share some things with you that we don't talk about during the podcast, and have some one-on-one discussions with the members of Patreon. Well, okay, I've said this now twice. This is my time for the day. It looks like I've done 26 minutes. I try to talk about 26, 27 minutes, give my thoughts, my views. Think about getting vaccinated if you're not. Consider wearing your mask if we have to, just so that we can keep this country, keep this nation, keep this state, keep this city open, right? We don't want the economy to fall. We don't want people to lose their jobs. We want things to get back to some semblance of normal, or at least the new normal. I'll talk to you next week. You'll hear that outro in a few seconds. This is Milton with This Side of 50. See you soon. Bye. You have been listening to This Side of 50 with Milton K. Smith. Email me your comments, your questions, your thoughts. mks@miltonksmith.org. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll talk with you next time.